Good morning, everybody. As already informed, that we'll be having our first lecture by Professor Peter Lindgren. So, the module of this topic is going to be Introduction, Vision and Goals, Historical View of CS Business Models. So, over to you, Professor Peter. Thank you, sir.
Can you also open the second one? Can you also open the one?
This one. This one. This one.
Yeah. And then we will switch to the other one in 1 second.
Yeah, just switch from
Okay.
here.
Okay. Good. So, welcome to you all, and for taking your time to be with me for the next 10 days. My name is Peter Lindgren, and I just shortly wanted to introduce where I come from and what I have worked with, and also give you some background on the circular and sustainable business models. So I am at the University of Copenhagen Business School now. I was a full professor at Aarhus University, as I mentioned in my introduction. And I have been working with business models since 2003, where I finished my PhD. And I'll come back to why this is a very interesting topic. So I also work as a vice president for Certif Global Capital, and we are a worldwide present organization, network organization that has branches all over the world, included India also. So next. Actually, as I mentioned in my introduction speech, I was introduced to India for the first time, and of this young man, Ramdi Prasad. And Ramdi Prasad is said to be one of the founding fathers of 3G. And then we have 4G, then we have 5G, and then we have 6G, and then Ramji. And I can see you are smiling very much. And this is what the course is about. It's about happiness and smile, because if we do not have happiness and we don't smile, it's impossible to innovate circular and sustainable business models. Because I have to tell you, I don't know how many will run away, but this is a very complex way of constructing business models. So I will promise you blood, sweat, and tears, if that's okay. You will also see that I'm teaching in a little bit different way. I'm starting on slides, but soon you'll be crawling on the carpet and you will work with our tools. And that's because we strongly believe that you can learn not just with seeing, but with feeling, with smelling, with ears, with many different things. One thing I learned when I was here in India was that the Europeans have taught the Indians to put socks and shoes on, and you shouldn't do that, because you should actually feel Mother Earth. And I like very much this way of you. I think it's the first time I've ever been to a place where you take off your shoes and then you go in socks or bare feet and so on. Let's see if I come with bare feet in the next coming days. But I like it very much. But you feel the carpet, and this is also what business model is about in the future. We expect that very soon we will have business model that actually are able to feel and sense And that means that you will actually be able to taste a circular and sustainable business model. Can you believe that? That's some of them will taste not so good, and some will be very nice. We believe strongly that you will also in the grocery at the market, you will actually be able to have your mobile telephone. I guess the mobile telephone will not be like this in the future. It will probably, when we are born, it will be operated inside your body, and then we'll forget about where is the mobile telephone because it's always there. Okay, so we are actually three vice presidents. We have Fred Harris in University of San Diego, and then we are Dido. She's in Greece, and those two are primarily taking off on the technology research and so on. And I'm trying to have a look on the business. I just get to, so then we have an admin lady, and she is called Gitte Kingo, but she's also a researcher. And some of the tools that I will show you, she has actually won first prize on one conference we have every year. Every year, this time it was in Thailand, and she has tried to figure out the process of the when you are doing business model innovation. But she has also been into how do you supervise those who are working with it. Because one thing we have found out is that, and that also is the thing around sustainable and circular business model, that is if you have a not so good supervisor, then the output and the results of the work will not be as high quality. So that's why I also took her with her. We are very close to the end of our strategy 2025. We are now formulating a new strategy for 2030. So next. And we have actually achieved quite good results. We think so. We have now 17, close to 18 universities worldwide that are division members. And for you as students, you might think that could be interesting because let's say, for example, you wanted to go to Princeton University. I cannot promise you. Let's say, uh, or you Purdue University, or it could be San Diego, or it could, that's American. But maybe it's more interesting to go to a university in Europe or maybe another university in India. Then this network actually works like if you are committed to be a division, then you open your doors. So it means that if I have a student and I would like her to go to Oslo in Norway, then I have the possibility to contact my good division in Norway, and then they will open the door. Not only that, because when I was at Stanford University, I saw some researchers coming from all over the world, and they actually wasted the first 2, 3 months because nothing was prepared. So when they were going to adapt the data, because they were studying something in US, then they actually had to go home. In US it's very restrictive. You have with who is in US, you can see they are flying out Indians, Colombians, and so on that they don't think should be there. I will not discuss that today, but you think we really try to give you a platform so that you can work on, and then you can prepare in forehand before you come into the place where the university where you, and they will come with their network, and that's network is a very interesting thing. So let's take next. So we have these divisions, many places, and I'm not saying that we would like to have 50 in our new strategy. I think our aim is to be about 25. We are not that keen on having 10,000 that are attached to my Facebook or my LinkedIn. And that is also why I have seen some of you that have sent me a LinkedIn invitation. And I have a little restrictive thing around my LinkedIn, and that is I have nobody on my LinkedIn that I have not handshaked with. I want to feel them, not nothing odd with it. I just want to meet them and find out, is this actually something that is interesting for both of us. I'm not just I love to meet people and so on, but I'm not that one that says yes, 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 and I use all my Sunday to say yes, 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 yes on Facebook. So that's why I have not said yes to those who have tried. So I hope we can handshake. And also, it's because it's my network. And when we are speaking about sustainable and circular business model, it's very much about network. It's very much about trust. Because the game is in business right now. That is that you have to be sure that your whole network actually are sustainable and circular. Because the trouble is, or the challenge is, that if customers they find out that somebody is cheating in the network, in the value chain, whatever you call it, then you can get into big trouble. And this is what we also see in many of the large European businesses. I speak a little bit from the European side, but I think it's also important for India, because a lot of your businesses, they are suppliers to bestseller with Jack and Jones and whatever. And if they cannot cope with the demands, and it is demands, it's not wants, it's not needs, it's demands, because their investor are not going to invest in them if they cannot prove that they are circular and sustainable. That's the new game. Yesterday it was green. And this is what we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about what is the difference between being green, environmental friendly, and sustainable and circular. And how does this come together? And I'm trying to write a book on this, not finished yet, because it is complex. So it's very, very much around trust and security and so on. Next. um, so to help us in CETIF Global Capsule, we have academias and industry in our advisory board from all over the world. Some are extremely experienced, and some have had a long life in both academia and industry. And this advisory board is also yours if you join the network. I'm not selling business models to you. I'm just saying you have an opportunity here, and then you can think about it. But you'll probably also realize that if you join the network, you'll probably also have hard work, because you have to give back value. So if you are coming into a university, they will not, as a normal professor, just ask for 2 papers per week. They will ask also for other things. That you work in projects, you do this and this, you represent them on a conference, and so on. But I have enjoyed it, and I have learned it from Ramdi Prasad. He's extremely nice. He's smiling all the time, laughing, and we have a wonderful thing. But he is also very harsh on tasks and so on. That's why he probably also have now about 170 PhD he has finished. and I hope that he will come here and you'll enjoy his. I'm not saying party, but okay. Let's take next. So in CITIF Global Caps, we have certain strategic areas. We call it a clock, and you can see here there should be room for many here. I'm not saying all, but one of the thing you have to know is that I had a dream to meet Remdi when I finished my PhD because I had heard a lot of him. He had some of the largest European projects, international projects, and I thought, as a one that are interested in business, this is exciting. What if I could get in there? And then I decided I will try. It's a challenge because he's never home. He's always up in the air. And then I managed to meet him in 2005. Actually, I made a mistake because I knocked at the door at his secretary, Inga, and I said, I have an appointment with the famous Professor Ramdi Prasad. He said, no, you don't have. I said, well, yes, I have worked on this for 1.5 years. No, you come 1 month earlier, too early. So you have to come 1 month later. Okay, I accepted that one, but I just wanted to be sure. So he, in 2005, he started to have me responsible for one of the strategic areas. I think it's actually the multimedia application and service. And I said, but I don't know anything about that. I know something about business model innovation. No, no, but you will learn it, and then think about some business models. And then eventually, after some 2 years, I actually got my own research center only focusing on business models and business model innovation. I got 10 million euros. I can't even remember how many INR that is, but it was a huge amount. And we promised that we will only start study business models. And we started off with laying all the business model on the floor and then frameworks. And then we innovated our own framework in 2010, had it registered in 2013 in Object Management Group. And then we have worked on with this. And this is something that I hope you will not run away. I hope I can. It's very easy on the surface, but it can go very complex when you go a little bit down. Okay, let's go for the next one. These will be changed now in the new strategy. And if those who look from business and look from maybe psychology or some other things don't see themselves in this, you should not be disappointed, because I actually proposed with Ramdi that we should try to complement technology and business. And I don't know if you know it, but many researchers in the technology and engineering area, they research and research and research, and then they go bankrupt because they haven't thought about the business model. and I said to Remedy, well, you have so much nice technology. You go to the Mars with the technology in your new 6G and so on. But where is the business model? Oh, okay, yes, we have to. So they have now accepted also that we have the business model involved. Now I'm on a new journey, and I mentioned it just very small this morning. That is, we need also to have the people, the human, the employee, the managers with us, the people around, because if we don't have them within the business model and they also are accepting it, then you can build as famous technology as you want, even RAMG, but it will not work because the bank would say, knock on the door and say, hey, what about that travel? Why did you not pay that? And so on. Okay, next. So we have divided it into different areas, and then, as you can see, it's all people from all over the world that are responsible for the different thematic areas, and then we have somebody that works across on the business field. Let's go to the next. In 2013, we moved to Aarhus University to this lab here, and during the week I will show you some videos on that. We were when I stopped at Aarhus University, we were about 30 researchers in that lab, but not physical. So in my research group, I don't care if you research on the moon or in wherever you do it, just that you do you value the research and the center. And the latest we have done is that if we go next. Yeah, it actually started with the head office in Italy, in Villa Mondragone, and then it moved to Aarhus University, and then now we are in Skagen. So next, uh, and next. So the reason why we moved out of Aarhus University with the head office was that many of the universities that did not want to be on an umbrella of another university, so we made an independent one. Yes, next. In Skagen, up in North Denmark. Yes, and yes. So another reason why I'm here in India this time is that we have the CETIF Global Capsule with a head office in Skagen, but now in these days we are establishing a branch of CETIF Global Capsule in Delhi. And this is run by a former PhD from CETIF Global Capsule, actually studying drones under, I think it was one professor from Aalborg University and RAMD also. And you can see it's called IDL. So IDL means innovation, development, and learning. And now I come with some terms through the course. So I distinguish between innovation, which is very much, on the creative parts, innovate an idea or innovate a concept and prototype and so on. And then you have the development, which I relate to what we say. I know there is some from marketing here. Is it right? Yeah. So have you heard about product life cycle? So this product life cycle is what I call the development, and so we have two sides. We have the innovation, and then we have, or you can say the circular and sustainable business model innovation, and then we have the circular and sustainable business model development, which is, introduction, we have the growth, we have maturity, hopefully, and not decline. However, I must say we have very difficult times for circular and sustainable business model, because as you can see in America, the president is not so keen on green. He wants black energy. And that means that the investment in Europe and especially in Denmark, where I come from, the investment on green is very, very difficult. I just saw yesterday that we had an expectation to build one of the world's largest energy islands outside of Zealand in Denmark. and it was cancelled. None of the business believe that it can ever pay back. Return on investment, some of you have also worked with that, am I right? Uh, and that means that we have not to cry, but we have to think. We have a little challenge over in US. It's a main export market for our technology, sustainable and circular technology. But what if we cannot sell it? We are world famous for windmills and different green initiatives, but what if we cannot sell it? Then it all goes. So now we have a challenge. We have to find out, what do we do? Of course, we can find some other markets and so on, but better would be that we kind of find out some ways that we can come around it. Okay, next. So this is a list of all the universities that are working with us. I think we have not updated it quite recently. So many of the universities, they are actually in our network. Some are having, those I think here have MOUs with us. Some of them have turned into be divisions, and so on. We are not forcing anybody to be CDC members. We are just because we want people to be motivated and engaged in it. Yes, next. Next. Yeah. So what you also have to think about is that all what we are doing is very interdisciplinary. Very interdisciplinary. And that is because we strongly believe that the future business model, also the circular and sustainable business model, has to be innovated and developed on behalf of many different competencies. We cannot just have engineers to do all the sustainable and circular business models. Then we will not be able to look out of our window because everything would be plastered with windmills, towers, and solar cells. Okay, the only thing I'm just thinking about, why are the engineers not thinking about making the solar cells and the windmills invisible? Because then nobody could cry about it looks ugly because they could not see it. I think it's possible to do, but why are they not doing it? They want, for example, in Denmark, we have big trouble with setting up windmills. Nobody wants it. They like the energy, but they don't like to see it. Solar cells, one of the greenest island in Denmark, and on green energy, they have just the people have just over there said, no, we don't want another solar cell park. So engineers, they have a task, find out how we make it invisible. I have seen some technologies that can do it, but it's not brought to market yet. Next. So, and next. So the next thing we are up to, you can see we are doing it in steps here, is that we are going to create a foundation, CDC Foundation, which actually will help us because then we can attract funds. Next. And we are going to change now, so we are inviting new young in to not just innovate, but also develop CITIF Global Caps, because this young man over here, although he says he will be 120 because he is the father of Ramdi, then we also have to realize that he is getting a little bit elder. Okay, next. And next. Okay, so how do we work? The way we work is that we set up these labs in many different places. Sorry, a little bit heat here. Here you see the lab I had in Aarhus University with a lab that has a lot of space where we can play with technology and business models. And it's you see down at the corner here, you see some Indian students. Every year we have summer school, and these Indian students, they are working on actually you could say at that time it was called green business model, but it was actually a sustainable and circular business model for Danish business on an Indian challenge, and that is waste of sugarcane. So as I understand, you have a very high production of sugar canes here, and as they told us, the waste from the sugar cane was actually dumped. Uh, why not find out a way we could use it for something? I also, every time I come to India, at least the last 3, 4 times in Delhi, I see some, I call it smoke, or some call it smog up in the air. And I understand that some of it comes from the north with some burning of some waste from crops. So the question is, could we do something else with it? Do you get my point here? So, and now I'm just talking about energy, which I call actually in our term. You'll see in some minutes. We have kind of in the environment area. We have 4 areas. We have what we call material and resources, which include energy, all the plastic, the woods, and all this. Then we have what we call waste. That's the second category, and it can be all types of waste. I also sometimes see when I'm in Italy a lot of plastic floating around the road and so on. Then you have the pollution. So I might do some plastic bottles, but does it actually have some pollution when it's in production? I guess many of has solved that challenge. But what about when it's thrown out in the nature? Uh, it can be canned bottles. It can be a lot of things here. And how do we get rid of it? I don't know if you know that one of the biggest challenge on windmills. What do you think that is related to waste? Windmill has tower. It has a nacelle. It have wings. And I hope in the 10 days we are together that you will not hold back. You'll just say something. No, I'm just thinking about we have to interact. Otherwise, I will be very dry and I will have all the water here in bottles on the university. Actually, the wings is a huge challenge because wings, when they go around, they after about 20 years, they will be less and less effective and efficient. You know the word effective and efficient. Effective is of course how much energy it produces, but then efficiency is about the money, and that's critical in a business model, because if it cannot generate enough income to those who have invested in the windmill park, then they will chase you. So, but another thing comes that after 20 years, it has to be brought back to land. What to do with it? It's glass fiber. Glass fiber. I think it's some mix of different things. And what is happening right now is it's chopped up and dumped in a big hole. Not many knows about it. They are looking at the electricity bill and they say, okay, green energy with windmills, that's nice, but they're not thinking about what about the blades. So what happens with it when it has to be brought away? Then somebody is thinking about, okay, we could use the windmills and then build them into highways to noise reduction. But in 50 years, 100 years, we might be interested in doing something else. And then what's in this screen and so on to lower the noise. So I'm here touching about the circular thing because we have to think when we think about circular and sustainable business model, we have to think about the whole life cycle of the business model, whole life cycle, and that's complicated. You'll see that very soon. Yes, let's go. We have different things that we do in CDC. All of them are listed up here. And why I just also took this picture is that can you see the box up here? And this is actually indicating different business model portfolios. Now I promised you it'll be a little bit blood, sweat, and tears. So if we consider a windmill, just very simple, a windmill as a product, then for me it's a business model. Okay, and I ask if you would read the first chapter on the business model cube. The all products, this one, this one, this, I think about them as business models with 7 dimensions. We'll come back to that. So any product, service, process, value process is a business model. But then some of them can be grouped so that they actually belong to each other, maybe. So here you see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 groups, which is portfolio of business models. So if I go back to the windmill again, then you will have one large windmill. Then you'll have a medium windmill. Then you'll have a small windmill. Then you'll have a windmill that is very, very good at some conditions and not at other conditions. And then this could be into a portfolio. And all these, if I try to very simple here explain, actually adds up to the business. And that is the top level of any business. Any business has more than one business model, and that's where we are different to other. That is that all the business models are hanging under the umbrella of the business. So we have business, we have a business model portfolio, and then we have business model. And that is a framework that I need to introduce you to, because otherwise it will be very difficult for you to start to work with the sustainable and circular business model. You have to know how the business model is constructed and all the terms around it. I hope it's okay. Nobody has run away yet. Is it boring? Okay. Have you ever heard about this way of thinking business models? You have heard about Canvas? Business model Canvas? How many have heard about Osterwalder's business model Canvas? Yes, yes. It's actually more or less the same, but on a business model level. I will come up with some models here, and the core of this course is it should be easy. We are building up a language together so that we can find out what are we talking about. It's like learning Spanish or Hindi. I can one word in Hindi, tiki tiki. and here you will learn some terms, because what if we, for example, have a group of students, let's say it could be also industry, and they are actually one that is a philosopher, one is a businessman, another one is a journalist, a marine engineer. How can we have them to talk together on the business models if they cannot speak together? So next, here you see the students working in the lab. So our framework consists of 7 dimensions. So any business model, if it's red, black, with money, without money, sustainable, circular, green, I don't care. Yes, I care about the microphone. Any business model is very easy. It cannot have more than 7 dimensions. And if you think about it, we'll come into it. Then you have 6 sides and something in the middle, which is the relations. The relation binds all the other 6 dimensions together. And it's also for circular and sustainable business model. That means if you have a hold on those 7, then you understand the business model. That's what we are going to do. And you can see here we have a table with 6, it's like a hexagon. And the inspiration comes from the bees. Because, and you can see some of my slides that has a bee, because in the introduction it was said that I was related to a project on women in business in Scandinavian countries, and there were 36 businesses. And what we found out very clearly, that is, if you are not your business, then you have a lower performance. If the employees, they not are committed to the values of the business, then immediately customer can feel it. They can sense it. I guess you have also imagined when you go into a shop, into a grocery, if the one is hanging and you can see he's very bored about this business, you will not buy anything. You will not feel it is attractive. And then you can force to push bananas into him or her, but it's not a good business model innovation process. People, customers, they have to be attracted, motivated, and so on. It's very simple. It's very simple. If you try to force everybody to have green business model in their backyard, you're on a wrong track. I believe so. So I'm not asking you to adapt my framework, but I'm motivating you, and I'm trying to say, hey, this could maybe also be an opportunity. When are we going to have breaks and so on? Okay, so 1:30. And what is the time now? So we continue to 6:30 or what? No, no, no. In this introduction, I give you a flavor of I'm actually quite interested in this, and sometimes I forget students that take care of my time here. Please ask questions. Please ask if you want some break or sugar or whatever. I'll try to help because sometimes I can get a little bit eager on this. Next. Here you see some of the basic tools that we are going to work with. The one with the hexagon I just mentioned, and I call that the B star. or we call it the B star. Then up at the top, we have something we call the B board, and it's actually one that gives an overview of the business models to be and as is that you are working with in your business. So it means that many startups, many entrepreneurs, many SMEs, many also large business, they don't know what they are doing. They don't have an overview. They have lots of papers and statistics and reports and so on, but they don't have a simple overview of how many business models do we have on the right side. That's those who are in the market. And here comes a new term. I'm sorry, am I going too fast? Okay, I don't use the word market. I think it's from old times, and it limits your possibilities. I work with something. I saw here in the guest house. You have a bowl with fish and water. I work with it like Great Barrier Reef. I think about it as an ecosystem. I call it a business model ecosystem. And then you have the fish swimming around. Some are eating the others. Some are, I don't know, sleeping or whatever. So I don't use the word market. I use the word business model ecosystem. So the business model ecosystem is above the business and its portfolios and its business models. And then we have two layers more that I don't want to bore you with right now. The third thing that we work with in the right corner is a specific process that we work with when we do business model innovation. And it's developed on behalf of a very good book I would recommend you to read. I heard that it's very challenging to get students to read today. Not in the mobile phone. But if you don't know what to do a Saturday morning or an afternoon, you should really read the U theory if you have not already done it. The U theory. And it's actually our inspiration of this is one called Chalmers. I have made a literature list for you. And again, you should not read it if you don't want to. But I have some that I think is mandatory. Then some that is a secondary, and then some for joy. And you can pick and choose for them. I will send that list to you. All the terms that I give you here in this course, I have a vocabularium for that, so that you can, if it's just business models, you can see all the terms I'm using. If it's green, you can see green business models, what the term is. If it's sustainable, then it's also there, and then the circular. Okay. You won't shoot me for giving you that, or it's okay. Okay, good. Yes. Then one thing that we discovered was very early in our research on business model. That is that many business model frameworks are too complicated to work with, and therefore we made 3 books, quick and dirty books, which is, as you can see, made with some drawings. You can call them comics. So you actually kind of smile a little bit when you are reading it. It's very easy, but it's all built on research. All built on research. So it's not something we have found from the blue sky. And then I will just give you a small introduction to the 7th dimension, very shortly. So can you imagine, we have a research center, 15 researchers And then one PhD student comes up, 2010, Yariv Taran, my very good friend, he was studying PhD and business models. And then he said, you know what? No, no, Yariv, what has happened? I don't believe that the canvas will ever work in the real life. You will never have, if you work with that one, you will never have it to pump like a heart. I said, no, 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 no. I was associate professor at that time. I said, no, 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 you cannot close the door. We don't want that information out of the door, because if you say that, we are up against the number one in the world on business model, Mr. Osterwalder. We'll be shot. We'll be sent to an island for ourselves and so on. Go back to your room, study harder. Then he came back 3 weeks later and he said, I still believe there can only be 7 dimensions in a business model. Then we gathered, we looked at it. We were in a house in California, no, in Florida. We were many experts, and then we found out we we can't see that there are more than 7 dimensions. So the 7 dimension is actually behind all and the tools and so on. Every area of every dimension of the business models is built on grounded theory. So when you work with this, you can always find back to where it comes from on any dimension, and this gives security, because if you are in a big workshop with some industry, let's say you are in a workshop with Vestas head of economics, head of finance, marketing head, and so on, and then you sit there as a supervisor, and then they suddenly ask you a question: where does it actually come from? This cannot be true. Then if they feel that you are uncertain and you start to shake because you cannot actually explain it, then they will not believe in it. So that's also why this is extremely interesting. Next, here is the process, and here comes another thing that you will also see in the course that we are working with. That is uh, that we never start with innovation. We never start with innovation. We start with understanding the business and later on the ecosystem around it. So we don't start with creativity and let's have some funny times. Let's do this. Let's be very creative, because we don't believe that's where business model innovation should start. So what we do is, in this process, we start with what we call downloading. So the first exercise you will have is actually, and this is a tryout, this is a business from India. And we want you to download how many business models do they have. And maybe if you feel that some of them should be grouped, then you put them into portfolios. And then, of course, we have the business. And then we start to understand what are they doing. So you see the first book or the second book is called What Are You Doing? So of course you don't have all the numbers, you don't have a lot of things, so you have to imagine. And we are working with the circular and sustainable things. So as soon as we understand the business, we'll start to work with the circular and sustainable thing. The next thing we're doing is seeing. So those from marketing, they know about that. We go out, we do the market analysis, we go out and find out what are other businesses doing. And when we have gathered these two very essential and important learning, Learning, that's also why the L in the CDC IDL is there. Learning is the raw material for any business model innovation. Then we start to go into the phase called sensing. Sensing is where we go into innovation. That does not mean that through the process we do not adapt ideas. And here comes the next term. We don't we distinguish between ideas and bubbles. So now I'm back to the pond again with the fish, that are bubbling. So every time we get a kind of what some would call ideas, we call them bubble, we register them, put them on the B board. If we can go one back, I think. Here. You see bubbles? So every time we have a bubble, we write it down, put it up here, and you'll see the tools we can do that. We have a bubble tool, and what is the meaning of this is that you are in a business model innovation process. If you disturb your mind with something on other bubbles, ideas, concepts, and whatever, then you are not effective enough. You are not efficient enough in your business model innovation, and we will lose time. So it's not because it's not good, but we will come back to it. To see. So when we are running the process, important is that we have bubbles just beside. And then we understand that we write it down. It's not because this lady came up with a crazy idea or bubble. It's just because we are focusing, and then we don't forget about it. As soon as we decide, which is a very critical thing, when we decide that it should go to an idea, then it goes from here over to idea. Can you follow this? So the bubble turns into being an idea, and the bubble turns into be actually a full colored hexagon, from a bubble to a full blown hexagon, and that means that we will then be able. We have decided to work with it. Okay, next. Yeah, I don't think I will comment on that one. Next again. So the way we are working is always with industry. We seldom work with cases from books. Yeah, okay. I will stop here in 2 seconds. So we always work with industries, and best with going out to them. So here you see one that CEO, he has a business that works with robots, and then the students, they are out there. But before they go out there, we have taught them about the frameworks, so that they can they can note down exactly what is needed on the business model. Do you get my point? So we don't go out just to have a look and have a coffee and so on. No, we go out there with a certain purpose. He might not know about it, and then we look, we smell, we hear, and everything. Next. This we have done in 62 businesses on green business models in Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. And it worked very fine. You see the whole team here, and we have worked with different approaches on this. I will come a little bit more back to that. Next. And then we have mapped all the business models up on this. This is just an example. And you can see that I talked about just before that you have all you have business, the business model portfolio, the business models, and then under the business model there were the 7 dimensions, and then we have a layer under here, and here you have the ecosystem. So then we have the mapping of that, and then you put it onto the B-board, or you can also go opposite. So it's actually, we have an overview of what we are doing. Yes, next. So finally, I have to close down, and that is that next session. Yes, and that is that in Denmark we have our prime minister, and she has a very good relation to Modi. And in Denmark we have signed a contract together with India on working with circular and sustainable business models. And she has announced that she wants CO2 reduction by, I think it was 2030, 70% in Denmark. This is a challenge, huge challenge, but we are trying to do what she wants to. Okay, I think I'll end the first session here. I cannot say that we 100% stick to everything, but I'll do my very best. Okay? Thank you very much. How long break do we have? 2 minutes break. Okay, is that allowed? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 I just had some 4, 5.